After almost 10 years, My Hero Academia's anime is finished, and I don't think it's a secret that people's perception and opinion on My Hero has changed quite a bit since the overwhelming positivity it started off with. And that was the case for me too. What I once thought was one of the greatest shonen of all time slowly started getting more and more problems, strange writing choices, underbaked characters, and plot points that were very rushed, to the point where the story I once loved had turned into a much more shallow version of itself. Which is not to say that I didn't still enjoy it, I did, just not to the same degree. And so every season I would hope the writing would pick up again and get back to the quality of the first 3 seasons, but every time I was disappointed, and season 7 in particular really broke me. But it's not over, we got the last motherfucking season, the finale, and I was actually pretty optimistic. Finally we can focus on the actual story and the characters that have actually been fleshed out. This was the golden opportunity for My Hero to one last time give me the feeling it used to, and well, it was pretty good. But okay, maybe it's not perfect, but I will say that it starts off pretty damn well. All Might fighting All For One the way he did was perfect. He's been gone from the story and action for so long that it'd be a shame for him not to do anything here. And All Might of all people knows you don't need a quirk to be a hero. What I really liked is that because All Might's symbol of peace stood tall for so long, it was just long enough to inspire the new generation of heroes, and probably several generations after that as well. But not just that, those heroes he inspired are now an inspiration for him to fight. It's some great stuff. Though this whole battle has one big issue that has been extremely annoying, not just here, but for a majority of the previous season as well. Because All Might is not fighting with the objective of winning. He is fighting to buy time for Deku so Deku can beat Shigaraki before All For One shows up. And the problem with that is that Deku and Shigaraki are not fucking fighting. Deku and Shigaraki have been in a stalemate for like 10 episodes. From episode 154 to 164, they just stand there jerking each other off, like they're not doing anything. So what's the point in All Might stalling when Deku's not actually doing anything with that extra time? It isn't until after Bakugo kills All For One that the two of them finally start fighting. I'm sorry, but this is just extremely lazy writing at this point. You could have found a better excuse for them not to fight than that. And this is not a Dragon Ball Z case where 5 minutes feels like 3 hours because the pacing is so dragged out. No, this is 10 episodes of the story at its proper pace. And it really just makes All Might's whole sacrifice feel so pointless. But luckily the fight against All For One is still really solid, mainly because of Bakugo. I was not expecting Bakugo to do anything else in the finale, at least not as much as he ended up doing, and I think that's what made it all the more hype. This fight is genuinely so fucking good on every single level. Animation, direction, music, Deku and Bakugo finally fulfilling the setup of them teaming up, and most importantly, Bakugo saving All Might.
That's what I'm talking about.
The way Horikoshi has written Bakugo up to this point has been flawless, and this fight is the perfect finishing touch to seal his journey and character arc. Also, I thought seeing All For One's backstory was so needed. I mean, it is way too late. This shit should have been shown to us like 2 seasons ago, but I finally give a fuck about him as a character now, at least a lot more than I did. He worked in season 3 because he was such a big threat and had hella aura, but every season after that he was just the most annoying, smug piece of shit with no substance to him at all. All his plans worked out due to pure contrivance, and he wasn't even cool. Bro's face was dead as just a thumb. Now, as much as I love this whole fight with Bakugo, I thought it was kind of weird how much more effort was seemingly put into that fight compared to Deku versus Shigaraki and All For One. Like, I'm kind of surprised they didn't go harder for this despite it still looking very good. Not just that though, the fight itself is pretty underwhelming and short. It's mostly just Deku charging up a big punch 3 times. I guess for a series finale, I was expecting a bit more of an intricate fight with different strategies and quirks, because one of my biggest issues with My Hero is how repetitive and uncreative the plot of the story and arcs have been. Almost every arc is the exact same. It's either an arc where the villains launch a surprise attack on UA, or we have a training/exam arc. And the way Deku wins is still just as uncreative creative and safe. Every character shows up and helps him out to get the win. There's no real unique strategy or clever moment. We just have all his friends show up and help him land this super strong punch. I don't know, the whole thing just feels super uninspired in every way. People clown on Endgame for its visuals, but look at this shit.
Brother,
I did like Eri giving Deku back his arms though, that was pretty clever. And a lot of the explanations for the things that happen are said in what I can only describe as Kingdom Hearts dialogue.
死柄木の中にあった鉛のような黒い塊。あれは奴の中にあったそれらが引き寄せられ一つに集約されたものだ。いわば奴の決意そのもの。
What the f does that mean, Kobe Bryant?
But I do think the plan Deku ultimately utilizes by giving One for All to Shigaraki was really smart. It definitely feels like a full circle moment. And Deku never giving up on saving Shigaraki is something I appreciated a lot, as it's a message I heavily agree with. For a while though, as he was attempting to do so, I did think it was a bit weird that we had just watched Bakugo brutally murder All for One while no one even thought for a second about attempting to save him. I kind of found this a bit contradictory to the story's message, but luckily Deku covered that as well. But I still have a big issue with how it ultimately plays out. First of all, why the fuck is All for One back again? Like, after the third fake out death they gave him, I was sick and tired, dog. But worst of all, this made it so that Shigaraki had to die. For the last like 4 seasons, everyone has been telling Deku that he has to kill Shigaraki, that he's too far gone. But every time Deku has said no, I have to save him. A hero's #1 job is to save people. So it'd be pretty fucked up to murder the guy right in front of you that desperately needs saving. But what's the point in doing so if he's just gonna die anyway? Imagine if in Avatar, after Aang takes away Osai's bending, Osai suddenly becomes possessed with his uncontrollable power, so Aang is forced to kill him anyway. That would fucking suck. Once again, it's safe, it's boring. This felt like Horikoshi taking the easy way out. And it's not just here, this whole season is really weird with deaths. Stain shows up for like 2 seconds to do absolutely nothing, then dies. This is whack. It contributes nothing to the story. It felt like it went out of its way to make sure every single hero survived, but had to kill the villains because they're evil. Why couldn't the ninja dude die? They had to turn him into this little blob to justify him surviving. Like, just kill him. Dying to save the life of a younger up-and-coming hero is the most heroic thing he could have done. Just let him be a hero. Did any hero actually die in this whole finale? I was expecting so much more from this finale. I was expecting it to be a bit more daring, I guess. So while the final battle wasn't bad, it was pretty underwhelming. But I will at least say that the final moments of the story is very good. My Hero Academia stays true to its own themes. It's not the one who's most famous or the one who beats the most villains that's the best hero. It's the one who inspires others to be a hero themselves.
本当に情けない。
I think the fact that they were able to hammer home this message so effectively at the end made the finale so much better. And I think Deku losing his quirk was a very smart decision. And honestly, I don't think it could have ended in a different way. I'm not sure how I feel about him getting it back by basically becoming Iron Man at the end, but oh well. Did My Hero Academia redeem itself with its final season? No.
You got me.
While there were tons of moments in this season I thought was incredible, the season as a whole has too many problems to be on the same level as the first 3. But that doesn't mean it's bad, it just means it wasn't at that top tier quality. I still thought it was really good though. And I'm not surprised we got the version of the story we ended up with when mangakas are so overworked with terrible schedules and deadlines. Despite several hiccups, I will always remember My Hero Academia as a story that has some of the best moments I have ever seen in shonen, top tier storytelling on so many occasions, and as a work that proudly wears its heart on its sleeve. I'd give this season an 8 out of 10, which is a huge step up from the last one, and I talk about what made that one so disappointing in this video right here.